Glucose cannot pass the brain barrier, however, ketones can. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Zach Casey. I'm back with another video today. I'm going to be talking about the ketogenic diet. I get asked about it all the time. It's kind of this fad or trendy diet that's surfaced within the past year. It's been around for a while, kind of stemmed from something called the Atkins diet, and now it's back. We tend to see this happen with diet and workout regimens, but today I'm going to kind of debunk the ketogenic diet, give my thoughts on it, who it's for, who it's not for, and kind of go into the biochemical process of ketone bodies and what they are and how they actually affect body fat. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So first off, the ketogenic diet is a diet that's primarily made up of fat. So most of your calories are coming from fat. I'd say around 70% is the average standard ketogenic diet. Then you've got around 20 to 25% coming from protein and around 5% from carbs. This can be modified slightly, and I believe there are already 4 or 5 different types of ketogenic diet, but technically it's not a written diet. The goal is just to get into a state of something called nutritional ketosis, which is when your body is at about 0.5 millimoles per liter. What people believe is that when you're in this state of nutritional ketosis, that fat loss can become rapid. All right, so first thing I'm going to touch on is kind of what happens when you're in ketosis. So the body creates these things called ketone bodies from free fatty acids during times of prolonged intense exercise, starvation, intentional diets, and a few other instances. So pretty much what happens is ketones are an alternative fuel source for your brain, because if you're not being fed glucose, your brain still needs to operate off something. So sometime during our evolutionary process, our body was not able to metabolize food. We were in a state of starvation most likely, but the brain still needs fuel. So our body's created this alternative pathway using this different substrate called ketones. Some people call ketones the fourth macronutrient. Who knows? But we know that our body can still yield energy with ketones, which is why it actually has some implications for Alzheimer's patients. Glucose cannot pass the brain barrier. However, ketones can, the blood-brain barrier in the brain. So what we know is what you put Alzheimer's patients on ketones or exogenous ketones, and they can actually think and perform mental tasks better. So super cool in that realm. I'll talk about those implications later. So as I was saying, some people believe this is important for fat loss, and why. So pretty much I'm going to kind of give you the background into fat loss. So your body sitting down right now is probably burning a combination of fat and carbohydrates, depending on the rigor of whatever you're doing. So if you're sitting down, you're probably burning fat. If you're walking lightly and just moving around, you're probably burning fat. If you go for a jog or start lifting weights or running, you're probably going to actually shift to carbohydrate burning because it's more efficient substrate, okay? With that being said, that doesn't mean you want to go and sit all day because you're going to be burning fat. That's not exactly how it works, and I'll touch on that later. But pretty much what you have is glycogen, which is stored glucose around your body, and it takes about 24 hours to deplete glycogen. If you're in some type of endurance event or you're performing CrossFit or working out even, you're going to deplete glycogen a little bit faster, but typically it depletes in about 24 hours. This is why some coaches recommend that you load up on carbs a day before a competitive event like CrossFit or weightlifting or powerlifting. Loading up on carbs will actually increase your glycogen stores and then help you then perform the next day in whatever event you may have, because carbohydrates are obviously important. And segueing right there, this is exactly why I don't recommend the ketogenic diet for most people. If you're competitive, or if you want to lift any type of heavy weight, if you play a sport, maybe you're in high school or college, or even if you play recreational sports, limiting your carbohydrate intake is going to severely diminish your performance, and we have a ton of evidence to substantiate that. Not having carbohydrates is not a smart idea because you're just not going to have energy to perform. Our body primarily runs off of carbohydrates. With that being said, yes, your body can become more efficient at using fats, and I'll kind of talk about that too. So, if you're giving your body sugar or carbohydrate, it's going to use that as energy. If you cut off the supply of carbohydrate, or even if you just feed it only fat, yes, your body's going to use that fat as energy. It's going to use what it's given. but that doesn't mean that you're going to lose fat. We need to remember, guys, fat loss comes down to the energy balance equation. You need to be consuming less calories than you're putting out. And the number one way to do this, I've talked about this before, is with resistance training, strategic interval training, and diet. All right, so yes, you can be eating a ketogenic diet and eating a shitload of fat and even a good bit of protein and no carbs. Doesn't mean you're not going to gain weight. All right, if you are eating more calories than you need, you're probably going to gain weight. And that also segues me into another point, which is adherence, guys. So if you cannot adhere to this diet, it's probably going to be ineffective. If you're not eating any carbs, first off, that probably sucks. You can't have any foods that you like. Second off, you're going to have poor energy all around and low energy in the gym. You can even affect your adrenals in a negative fashion. So that's why I talk about that. And lastly, with protein, I recommend 30% of your calories from protein, or whatever you need to be getting, around 1.8 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight. And sometimes with the keto diet, it's just hard to do. So those are some of my thoughts on why I don't think it's great for performance and even for fat loss. Guys, we need to remember the energy balance equation more than anything else. Okay guys, so going a little more into the science of things, pretty much what's going on when you're in a state of ketosis is this. So the ketone bodies are picked up by tissues and converted into acetyl-CoA, and then they enter the citric acid cycle and are oxidized in the mitochondria for energy. Pretty much what happens is your body stores around 2,000 calories in the liver, and then once that's depleted, you're pretty much done, and then you need to start using sugar that's free-floating in the body. All right, so we know that the body can produce around 120 calories in the day if it needs to happen, but ideally your body wants to use body fat and break that down for energy. Okay, and in our body we store around 50 to 100,000 calories just from body fat. All right, so that goes a little more into the science of things, so you can kind of understand the mechanisms of fat loss. Overall though, with the ketogenic diet, I don't recommend it for three main reasons. First off, adherence. Most people will admit it too, they're not able to cut out most of the calories from their diet. This is including the junk food that they just like to snack on, as well as even healthy carbs such as potatoes, rices, quinoa, vegetables, fruits. There's a lot of good stuff out there too, and it's going to be hard to adhere to. You're not going to have a lot of energy, and that brings me to my second point. It's bad for training. You're not going to be able to put up any weight. You're going to be slugging around in the gym. You're going to feel tired. You might even get nauseous. All right. And point three, it's not any better for fat loss. There's a lot of research behind this, and we know that meal timing and macronutrient composition does not affect fat loss at all. It comes down to the energy balance. Everyone's different. Everyone's macronutrient requirements are different, and people respond differently to different distributions of macronutrients. Some people can do well off 80% carbs. Some people do well off of 80% of their calories coming from fat. Everyone's different. Find what works for you, and then go off of that. Alright guys, so that kind of breaks into the keto diet. I'm going to go into it a little more in some other videos. I'm going to ideally make this into a series. I'm going to address exogenous ketone supplementation and some other myths regarding insulin, fat loss, diet, and etc. So if you guys like this video, throw me a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. Feel free to check out my other links down below.